That's it. Quiet, please, folks. Thank you. Here we go.
On Chesil Beach is about two lovers. The story begins with them after they've just gotten married.
And it's the story of their first night together.
They are both sexually innocent. They have great difficulties crossing the line from sexual innocence to sexual experience. They both come from very different but rather troubled backgrounds.
And that forms the backbone of the story, and through that backbone is interwoven and constructed how their relationship began and how they got to that point of their wedding night.
You know, Florence, it was beautiful.
Nothing went wrong.
Even my mother behaved herself.
It's a love story, an irresolute one, and a tragedy.
I need to kiss you.
Put your arms right round me.
It's essentially about the ways in which we are not only products of our own specific genetic makeup and what we're born with, but we're also creatures of our time. This is a time where it was very difficult to talk about sex or to confront any sexual difficulty or to even acknowledge that there was any difficulty.
Sex is a huge responsibility and it's something that's expected, especially back then when you've gotten married, sort of instantly. It's something that she's just not comfortable with yet and she hasn't quite embodied that part of herself yet.
Florence is a very talented musician, but she's grown up in a very repressed, coercive environment with these quite cold, upper middle class parents.
It's been quite a solitary life for her and music has been what she's turned to. She's also suffered a trauma earlier on in her life and music is her way of dealing with that.
When Vienna Small will play here one day, I'll choose the Mozart quintet, the one you can sing.
And I'll be here. Ready to shout at the end. What is it they shout?
Bravo.
Why they fall in love, they can't resist it. They deeply fulfill the other need to start explaining their own past, their own families, and this binds them together.
They're sort of both the saviour for one another. They balance each other out.
They find in each other a willing listener. Their emotional understanding is maybe running ahead of their physical understanding.
Hello.
Hello?
Although Edward is incredibly bright and intelligent and well-read.
Unlike Florence, Edward has a rural background.
There's something very earthy about him. He knows the names of flowers, of birds, of constellations. He's at ease in the countryside.
But he's also really interested in contemporary culture. He's more, in a way, of his time than Florence.
And it's the soundtrack, really, of his own sexual desire.
Now listen.
He's quite,
Quite what?
well, sort of merry.
Chuck Berry.
Film is a great medium for showing internal life because the camera can get up close and read what's going on inside someone's mind.
Saoirse Ronan has the gift of a remarkable inwardness. She can give you the sense of an interior monologue just in the way she listens.
And Billy Howell is similar. He's a very emotional character and his acting can play both the surface kind of containment of that and the feeling underneath.
There's nothing more exciting than seeing an actor having a thought process on a giant screen and being really engaged with that instead of having 4 paragraphs of it.
It's a very, very successful book. Ian McEwan is a well-known writer globally, and this book really resonated with people and was Booker nominated, and so people will come with expectations.
You could say that the act of reading is a form of, like, screenplay writing. You know, everyone carries around a version of this novel. Somehow you have to coax them onto a middle ground, and I think that the key to this is in strong casting.
Florence!
She's not in there.
Florence?
And the script is phenomenal. Ian's done it himself. It's an adaptation of his own book, and that's quite daring and courageous.
What really resonates with me is just the fact that he seems to really appreciate how a moment can change everything.
And how doing nothing can completely change your entire future.
There you are. Did you really need to come this far?
Yes,
It must be 2 miles back to the hotel.
I needed to get out.
Many people will identify with Edward and Florence, and that has nothing to do with period, that just has to do with an emotional truth.
It's a film that has wide audience appeal because it's such a fantastic story and there's a universality to that story.
The universal thing is how difficult it is to start relationships and to start marriages.
And cut!
And to find a way of going through transitions together in a relationship with someone and staying with them through that.
And it's just a very, very moving and beautifully told story with two fine central performances in Saoirse and Billy.
It's a story about two humans who almost had something really great and lost it because of one moment. That will always be relevant and it'll always resonate with people.
Be alive to every moment. If one was looking for a message in the film, which is just, be attentive at all points to everything that flows between you and the person you love.
I think you must be the squarest person in all of Western civilization.
But you love me.
Therefore, I love you.
I just know the Ennismore will play here one day.
And I'll ready to shout at the end, Bravo! Bravo!
It's my promise.
若きバイオリニストのフローレンスと歴史学者を目指すエドワード。
He set eyes on me for the first time.
And I saw a man who wasn't wearing a jacket.
一瞬で恋に落ちた二人。
He's not like anyone else.
I felt like my life had just begun.
What does his father do?
You mean, is he working class or one of us?
Yes, I think that's more or less what I mean.
We love you, Florence.
Marry that girl.
Florence, it was beautiful.
やっと結ばれたその日、運命の糸がほどけてしまった。
You don't seem quite as happy. Something's bothering you,
I
Flo.
really have to go. Edward, I want to make you happy. But I think I'm always a disappointment.
Have you actually forgotten that we were married today? That's what you promised today!
We can never just be happy.
たった6時間の結婚。なぜ二人は別れなければならなかったのか。
Bravo!
追想。一生忘れられない恋だった。